Today's guest is Andrew Genovese. Andrew is a dimensional breath worker, teacher facilitator, sacred space holder, plant medicine guide, visionary, and New Earth ambassador. On his journey to heal his own traumas, Andrew found breath work and his purpose to bring balance and healing to the global community through various practices from around the world. Andrew holds a unique wisdom of healing modalities, spiritual teachings, embodiment practices, and leads people back to their heart. He wants to help us all remember how special our planet is and the pure, unconditional love that will radiate throughout the earth as we enter the golden age. Andrew, welcome. Fantastic to have you on the show today.
Hello, Maryanne. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here and excited to just drop in and let us flow into whatever corners we're meant to.
Yes, I love that. So, I really would love for us to talk about all things water. And I think a good place to start is to acknowledge that we're made up of approximately 60% water and that the earth is 70% water. So would you agree that because of that, water carries with it really important advice about our mental and emotional health?
Hmm. 100%. And when we're talking about water, it's like a endless rabbit hole of places that we could go. And as someone I love water. I've been very drawn to the water in the last 18 months, 2 years especially. And I feel like I know a decent amount about water, and at the same time, it's one of the most humbling things you could ever deep dive into because we hardly know anything about water. And so that's the ironic paradox of it, is even the people who are the most knowledgeable barely know anything. We're just scratching the surface about what water means and what it even is. So yeah, I absolutely think water has a huge piece pertaining to the psyche and mental health. Absolutely, right? Like as you said, we're 60% water. I believe it's more around 70% water. And on a molecular level, it's 99.5% water.
Yeah.
Molecularly, we are 99.5% water. So we are water. We are water beings. We're a drop in the ocean. We're the entire ocean walking in this human form.
Yes.
And so water is going to play a massive role in how we feel and how connected we are spiritually, how connected we are to God, how we're able to ebb and flow in the ups and downs, the curvatures, the diagonal, like, right? The spiritual journey is anything but linear. It's backwards, it's forwards, it's up, it's down, it's in a circle, it's diagonal. I mean, it's all over the place. And so to be in touch with water is to simply be more in touch with the evolution of, well, the universe, right? Because everything is always changing.
Yeah.
This universe is always changing. And those, for example, who are in deep resistance to, let's say, wanting to hang on to the way of the old world, well, you are in resistance to yourself, to God, and to everything around you, to nature, because everything is always changing and everything is always flowing, everything's always shifting, and everything is always evolving. And so to become like water and to continuously get more in touch with water, and yeah, it's absolutely going to have a huge impact on how we feel, how grounded we are, how we feel mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like the brain, the organs, the kidneys, the spleen, the liver. It's all just water at the
Yeah.
end of the day. So, I like to say this, and it's just such a simple, profound thing to be in closer contact with water, to attempt to understand water from an intuitive level, is to be more connected to the creator and God.
Yeah.
So, if water is godly, which it very is, then of course, it's going to play such a large role on all things, just being more connected to ourself and more connected to our spiritual journey, right? So,
That's actually one of the things I wanted to ask you, because I especially love that water has been associated with mysticism, with symbolic language of dreams, with art, with intuition, emotion, healing, inspiration, all of it. But how, from your perspective, how does water and the wisdom of water help you reclaim your intuitive nature?
mm, yeah. So the first thing that's coming forward for me is, and as we just talked about only moments ago, last week I finished guiding a group of men out into the mountains for a rites of passage journey, to go through this ancient initiation before God, out in the wild, out in the mountains, with the elements, the sound of the birds, the animals, and the elements of the wild and water. And so, the water is such a big piece of the rites of passage because we're so disconnected from water in every single shape, every single way, right? So when we go out on the rites of passage journey, um, I find a spot along a river that is perfect, like the perfect location for the men to line up along the river, and every man has their own zone and own territory, kind of like a wolf pack. Another wolf pack doesn't enter another wolf pack's territory, or they're going to duke it out, right? They're like going to fight. And sometimes this can be a loss of a couple wolves in the pack, if they're fighting over territory. So there's a very masculine structure to it. Going out on the rites of passage, there's also a very feminine structure to it, which is feeling what comes through. But one thing I tell all the men is I really pinpoint the element of water, and to constantly, with every sip you take, don't just guzzle your water, but pray into your water, communicate with your water, talk affirmations to your water of what man you want to embody, because water holds memory.
Yeah.
Right? Water is conscious, water is alive. And to the point where one of my very dear friends, Veda Austin, she's just doing extraordinary work. Many of you listening to this podcast might know her. She has proven that when she has me, for example, speak into a petri dish from here to Auckland, New Zealand, the petri dish that I am speaking into and meditating on, she will then freeze. The next day, she will check that petri dish, and inside the petri dish will be a winged angel, just like I spoke into the water. So when she freezes it and she puts it on the microscope, she can see the winged angel. And so now we zoom out and we think, how is that possible? Like how can someone in the United States, in the Pacific Northwest in Washington, talk to a petri dish and water in someone's house in Auckland, New Zealand, and they freeze it, and it is literally exactly the replica of what I was speaking from here to there into the water,
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
What it
That's
shows us is
incredible.
that, yeah, I mean, it's mind blowing. Well, when I started diving deeper into her work in 2021, I was like, whoa, this is opening up a whole new level of awareness and consciousness of just the level of connection of what we might have perceived before taking in this information, that we can speak into a body of water, and it can be frozen, and it can be Bigfoot, or it can be a cradle, or or it can be a giraffe or a cow. Like that water can hold that level of consciousness from that far away.
Yeah.
What it's showing is that water is a massive conduit of information that flows throughout this planet, and the entire universe,
Yeah.
right? So what I've put together and what I've received is that water is the conduit that all information and all consciousness is traveling through. It's traveling through the avenue of water,
Yeah.
because water is God. Water is God. Water is godly. And so when we're getting more in touch with the water, we're getting more in touch with who we truly are on the deepest, most ancient levels. And as we know, many of us have come here to volunteer on Earth from all over the universe. We have some of the most gifted individuals from all over the universe that are here in physical bodies during this time. And so to reclaim water, to understand water, to just understand this little piece that we're talking about, that we can speak into a petri dish and it can be an angel or a giraffe or a bear or whatever we're speaking into. I mean, that is incredibly groundbreaking and incredibly profound. Like, this one piece helps us know who we are on a deeper level, that when we're more conscious of how we handle water, it's simply a reflection of what will reflect externally. So if we're treating water like garbage, well, yes, we also are treating our planet and ourselves like garbage, right? So
Yeah.
it's very it's a very as within, so without, as within, so without, right? If we're treating the water good and everyone is loving water, everyone's connecting with water, oh my God, the place of consciousness that we would be in if every person on this planet had that deep, intimate love and connection with water, and like deep desire to know water better. Because to know water better is to know thyself better and God better within us, the God within us.
Yes, and it's funny that you say that, because I read a quote that said water connects all of life, and what becomes of the water becomes all of us. And I wanted to know whether you felt like that as well.
Yes. I mean, just like I explained on the rites of passage, it's one of the last things I tell the men. Continue to connect with your water. Continue to breathe into your water. Continue to pray over your water. Don't just guzzle it. Look at it. Look at the crystalline reflection coming off the water. Go into the water, in the freezing cold water. It's mountain runoff. So, it's in Celsius, probably 9 or 10 degrees, 7 degrees. No, maybe actually even 6 or 7 degrees, but it's very cold. And to feel the cold water wrap around your body like a blanket, welcome in the discomfort, right? This time where we lived amongst the land and we regularly bathed in cold water during the winter time, during December. Did we never bathe during December or January or February or March because it was cold? Hell no. We still bathed and still collected water and still fished even when the water was freezing, but it wasn't about not going in it because it was uncomfortable. We were simply more connected to just the uncomfortability of a life,
Yeah.
right? It's a beautiful metaphor to welcome in, to consciously choose discomfort. So I tell the men, like, let the cold water wrap you like a blanket, let your whole body contract. And then when you go out in the warm sun, like, breathe in the codes of the sun, breathe in the codes of the sun, and let this ancient wisdom pour into you. So you're working with water, which is God, and you're working with the sun, which we are solar beings. We are water beings and we are also solar beings. So you're working with some godly energy in the rites of passage, and just, yeah, I just really like harp and like guide the men, like, tune into the water, pray into the water, look at the water, like, look at the water as God, like, be able to receive the codes that are moving through the water. And I just really like plant that seed, and whatever they choose to do with what I tell them is up to them, as their journey transpires over the 4 days and 4 nights. But yeah, I just think it's such a beautiful opportunity to get more connected to water because we're so disconnected, especially for people living in suburbs and the cities, that are so disconnected from water. Some people don't see water for months,
Yeah.
maybe even up to a year or years without seeing, lakes, rivers, streams, or the ocean, so.
Yes, and it's important because you have the negative ions and the positive ions depending on where you live, but you need the other side of it to keep you in a balance. You do. I live near the ocean and I love it, and I try and be down there as often as I can, and it changes you. And when you're in summertime and you're at the ocean and you're getting the combination of that, being in that beautiful water and getting the sun codes at the same time, that's why people feel rejuvenated. They feel better. They might not consciously know that that's what's happening, but it is. It's because your um molecular structure is changing without really even having to try too hard. It's just get out there, be out there. So the aversion to water is an interesting one. I saw in my family unit that sort of head patriarchy, my grandfather, he would force himself to drink water. He would have 2 sips and then would hardly drink any water the rest of the day. And when you see that and you're around people who don't really like drinking water, and that's in your family unit, you're kind of conditioned to have an aversion to it as well. And I have that same thing. So my motivation to drink water is so I don't have headaches, so I don't feel like foggy. But it's not because I want to nourish myself. It's because I'm trying to avoid the pain, which I can't imagine I'm the only person who would be participating with water like that. Do you think the genetic side of things and what we're noticing within our family units has an effect on our aversion as well?
Mm. Yeah, this is a beautiful talking point because, like, let's dissect that for a second, right? We have so many learned habits from our parents. They get passed down from their parents. They got passed down from their parents, right? So, and that's what we're breaking free from right now, the old conditioning programming. And much of the programming we are carrying and our distortions and our projections are coming from directly from what we learned from 0 till the age of, 16, 18, 20, 22. Uh, we're constantly repeating things that we saw that were downloaded into us, and now we're reversing those back to home, back to our true state, back to truth, back to love. And so I find it really interesting, and I pose this question to anyone who has an aversion to water, or maybe they're like, oh my God, my dad was like that, my mom was like that. If water is life itself, if no life on earth would exist without water, if we are water, if we are water, which is true at a 99.5% molecular level, and 70% we are water, but on a molecular level, it's 99.5%. If all those things are true, then if we're like have an aversion to water, then we're literally have an aversion to life itself. We are resisting to life itself. We are resisting ourself. We are a manifestation of God. Water is God. And so there's something deeply to look at within ourselves if that is us. Okay, wow, that is me. Holy crap. Like that could open up some serious doors of changing the energetic, going from like, I have to drink water to, oh my God, this holy water that I get to literally pray over, put in my body, and continuously do this every day, all day, and make this a living prayer every day of my life, which is what many of the ancient civilizations were doing every day of their life. There were so many water ceremonies. There were so many ceremonies around water when a woman's water broke during pregnancy, and right, like there's the world, the universe of water is an endless rabbit hole of the directions that you could go to. So to be more connected to water is to be connected to God and life itself. To be disconnected to water is going to be a disconnection to who you are and what you're here to offer and what someone's here to bring to the earth. And when someone like really sits with that and takes time to like meditate on that deeply, well, there's your journey. Then, or may your journey begin on uncovering why there's an aversion to water and what things you can start to do to become more connected to water and become more reverent of water. And when you go down to rivers and you go down to lakes, to look at it from a new lens of perception, a new lens of seeing its honor and its beauty and its ability to flow and take shape, and everything that you see with your eye, the plants that are sitting in right next to me, they couldn't exist without water. None of it could. The grass, the moss, the trees, animals, us, like Earth would be dead without water. So yeah, there's a deep inversion there that was clearly created by the dark forces for certain people to take on these deep aversions of disliking and even hating to drink water. For me, I get it. Like we've all come here with their distortions. I didn't come here with that distortion. I haven't had to work through that one. I've always loved drinking water long before I was awake, even though I loved being hydrated, even though I wasn't properly hydrated because I didn't know what proper hydration was. But I loved putting water in my body because that just felt good and felt right. And I never had an aversion to it. But it is quite interesting to dissect and ask those questions. And that's where the evolution always comes from, is just getting curious and asking, like, where is this aversion coming from? Is it coming from my mom? Is it coming from my dad? And what can I do? What can I be proactive about to change it?
Yes, and that's something that I've been thinking about ahead of our conversation, and something that has uh, started to simmer in the background for me is, if you know that this is a form of nourishment and self-care, if you know that it is changing your internal equilibrium, and you're getting to the deeper parts of yourself with water, especially if you pray into it, why, like, why, again, being curious, why would you be resisting that? And it is connected to a lot of different things, and I think it would be different for different people, but that is definitely something that I'm conscious of. And I encourage our listeners to do that as well, because it is a game changer. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, and one of the things I find really fascinating, is hydrogen water. And I only have recently started to learn about hydrogen water, but I read something about it, and I wanted to just to throw it by you and get your thoughts on this. So I read that 1 glass of hydrogen water has the equivalent antioxidant effect of 1 kilo of blueberries, 64 apples, 38 carrots, 5 kilos of broccoli, 30 glasses of green tea, 3.7 pumpkins, and 94 bananas. Like, that is mind-blowing to me, that the antioxidant effects of water, just hydrogen water, has that same impact. And so I wanted to ask you about hydrogen water and what the benefits are of drinking normal water, like filtered water, obviously, versus hydrogen water. What is the difference? Tell me everything.
So a lot of people, the word hydrate, okay, first of all, where does it stem from? It comes from hydrogen. Hydrate comes from hydrogen. Not a lot of people even have ever put that or even thought about that. Like, oh, right, that makes sense. And so people think like, oh, I'm drinking water. I drink lots of water every day, so therefore I'm hydrated. Well, completely false, right? So we can be drinking a gallon of water per day or 3 liters of water, whatever, has nothing to do with the quantity, but has everything to do with quality of what the body is actually asking for. So there's water would probably be one of the number one things that there's so much disinformation on. And a lot of people even sharing things about water, they're doing their best. There's just Well, they just don't truly know what is actually the accurate information. And I'll be the first one to admit, there was a number of years where I was drinking Kangen water and I was drinking 9.5 pH water, and the body, we think, oh, the body wants to be alkaline, so let's drink alkaline water. Not true. The body wants to be alkaline. The gut does not want alkaline water. It can be beneficial for someone who's really sick and has a plethora of inflammation in the body, but that will only work for, maybe 4 to 6 months. After that, the body actually wants a pH of water between 5 to 6. So, and when we're talking about hydration, since we just identified that the word hydrate comes from molecular hydrogen, the body doesn't want anything else other than it's asking for one thing, and that's molecular hydrogen. So molecular hydrogen is what makes up all the stars in the universe. All the stars in the universe are made of hydrogen. So this is the father molecule. It's the number one molecule on the periodic table. And it's the tiniest molecule in the universe. So when this molecular hydrogen, when this hydrogen molecule enters the body, it has a very innate ability to put a microscope inside the body, penetrate each cell, go inside the cell, and saturate the cell. So it's going inside each cell and seeing where the body is out of balance, where it's out of homeostasis. So let's look at it like this. A sprinkler system that's like going inside your body and just irrigating your body, or we can look at what molecular hydrogen is doing, and that's actually properly hydrating someone. And so when someone is in tune with their body, when someone's in tune with their intuition, the feeling that they have going from drinking like a Brita tap filter, like they have a little Brita filter, they're putting the water in it, it's filtering the water. It's barely doing anything. It's taking out a small percentage of like some of the contaminants. It's not taking out any fluoride. It's not taking out any chlorine. It's not taking out heavy metals. It's taking out like a small portion of the toxins. And other than that, you're pretty much drinking tap water, which if you happen to live in, say London or Los Angeles or New York, I mean, you're drinking extremely toxic water with pharmaceutical drugs, with Viagra, with hormone, all different kinds of hormone things in it, chlorine, fluoride. I mean, just it's like a dumping ground of toxicity. And that's what majority of the world is drinking tap water. Even people who are very well off are drinking tap water that has probably more than 30 different chemicals in it. Thus, very turning our pineal gland, tapping us into God and the universe, essentially into a stone, which is why people can't see, right? So, the difference between drinking, for example, this bottle, which is what I recommend to all my people. It's the best molecular hydrogen water bottle on the market, and there's not another one that compares to it. The difference between me drinking this bottle, putting spring water in here, turning it into molecular hydrogen, getting the frequencies, getting the grounding effects of Earth's magnetic core, and then drinking tap water, I mean, they're hundreds of kilometers. They're worlds apart. You're talking about poisoning your body, putting endless toxicity and distortions and pharmaceutical drugs and women's birth control. Like men are literally drinking water with women's birth control in it.
I mean, that's insane.
This is what people are drinking.
I just want to cycle back before I ask you 700 other questions. Did you say they're putting, I know definitely fluoride, definitely chlorine, definitely all the other, terrible chemicals, but did you say they're putting Viagra in the water?
So all the pharmaceutical drugs that are ending up in the water, tons of people, millions of Americans dump their pharmaceutical drugs in the toilet. And that water, those drugs, the bicarbonates of all those drugs end up in our water. So it's when you actually start realizing like, okay, tap water, yeah, it's just water. It comes out of the sink, maybe it comes out of some rusty pipes, something like that. Maybe I'm drinking some lead. Even if you have that level of awareness, but it's Yeah, I mean, look, the dark forces poison the waters, the ocean, our tap water, our drinking water, because if you poison water, you're hurting the feminine. You're hurting women.
Yeah.
Women are water. We are water, but there's even like another gravity of like that women are water. And there's so much godly, like I said, ways that we could go when we're talking about water. But if you hurt the water, it's a direct attack on all of creation.
Yeah. I
It's a
mean,
direct attack on consciousness.
that resonates, and I feel like that's very poignant given the times that we're living in and what we're seeing across, all the woke agendas. But I I want to better understand. So, because I really want not only myself but our audience to really understand the difference in hydrogen bottles, because I've seen some that say, make sure that your hydrogen bottle has this in it and that in it, and it seems pretty confusing. How do you know that you're choosing one that is of high quality, and how would you know the difference to someone who's got no idea like myself? How would we know? Because they all look good, they all look really pretty, to be honest. But if I'm going to invest in one, and it's not a small investment, but it is an important one, I want to know that I'm nailing it. I don't want to just get one that I'm going to have to start again with something else. Because up until this conversation, I thought Kangen water was hydrogen water. I didn't know that. I knew that it was alkaline, but somehow in my brain, I thought it was hydrogen. And so all of this is new, definitely new to me. So, Andrew, help me
Kangen,
understand.
the Kangen machine, Marianne, produces molecular hydrogen,
Yeah.
but it does produce molecular hydrogen through single chamber electrolysis process, which changes the pH of the water, and that's not good.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of people say a lot of things about Kangen water. It's alive water. No, it's not. That's not true. Um, there's just a lot of misinformation and a lot of people that are sharing information about Kangen. And for anyone who's a Kangen person, I love you so much. And I'm sorry you have to hear this, but when people ask me, I tell them the truth.
Yep.
And the truth is that the closest colleagues of mine, and some people who are the most prolific water researchers in the world, they don't support Kangen. There's just way better options out there, to be honest with you. And that's just the truth.
Yeah,
So
because even that's not a cheap investment. They're very expensive. They're a big machine. I've seen them
yeah,
aesthetically.
a $6,000
Yeah,
investment.
I've seen it. It's a quite an ugly looking machine. I don't like the look of it aesthetically. So that I was like, do I really want this in my kitchen? No, but I don't need any more reasons not to drink water. So this is why I'm so curious about it, and I wanted to talk to you because I can't, like I said, I can't be the only one that has these questions. So again, like how do you pick the right bottle, and how does it work even?
Okay, so number one, here's what we have to understand. In the last 2 years, there's been an explosion of information about molecular hydrogen, especially in the last like 12 to 18 months. I mean, it's just everywhere. Podcasts, interviews. You can find it on YouTube, on Apple. I mean, it's being talked about a lot, which is amazing. The shadow side of it and the dark side of it is you have tons of sharky companies who have no integrity, who are looking to capitalize because they're business people. And so they're going to put out a really, really low quality, to be frank with you, shit bottle. I mean, that's just what it is out there because they want to make money. They want to make profit. So they're going to use as cheap quality products. They're going to use aluminum. The plastic they're going to use is going to be leaching into the water. And they're going to, the materials that they make to use it are going to just be very low quality. So you can find a bottle online for like $80, like super cheap. Yeah, you can buy a molecular hydrogen bottle for $80, but you don't even know if it's producing molecular hydrogen. Okay, so my friend bought a bottle and he actually tested it. He tested the bottle that he purchased for $100, and then he bought the Luma Vitae bottle and he did a test on that. The bottle he was drinking for months no molecular hydrogen in it at all. And the bottle he was drinking, not only was it not producing molecular hydrogen, but it's also leaching heavy metals in it and BPAs. Okay. So, first things first, for everyone listening, the bottle that you're buying has to have an IHSA certificate. If it does not have an IHSA certificate, do not get it. It's going to be junk. This is about you investing in you, right? Investing in your hydration, investing in properly being hydrated for the first time in your life, which is going to revolutionize your inner world, your consciousness, the level of clarity you feel. Maybe if you're a woman, your menstrual cycles, my God, it's going to completely revolutionize everything in your body. Hydration it's the master conductor of everything that happens in your body. Liver function, muscle contraction, nerve function, kidney function, liver function, everything.
Yeah.
Everything is based around water because we are water. So when you're looking for a bottle, and when I was looking for one, I just kept peeking into all these companies, and I actually put the call out that I really wanted to find a bottle that was just like fully dialed online. And I really wanted to find one to share because 99.9% of our planet is extremely dehydrated. And this Lumavite bottle is the one that came into my field. Okay, so in the bottom of the bottle, it's using double chamber electrolysis process, which doesn't raise the pH of the water. The bottom of the bottle has a PEM membrane that's handcrafted by Nuno Nina, who created this bottle. And where the molecular hydrogen is made in the bottom of the bottle is emulating Earth's magnetic core. Top of the bottle has 3 frequencies: energy, recovery, and the great central sun. So it's structuring the water, and it's essentially like using the pyramid technology in Egypt. And that's how Nuno created it, because he's a super cosmic angelic human that can see energy and frequency. That's how he was able to create this thing, because he can see energy, he can see frequency. He can be in a room full of 12 people and tell everyone what health issues they have going on, because he can see right through them. This is a very magical man, and a man of deep love, deep honor, deep integrity. And yeah, he's here to, bring some really miraculous inventions to the world. So when I caught wind of this bottle and the mission, I was just like, whoa, this is really, really unique, and I have to get behind us. And I just see the reclamation of our waters is such a big piece to the reclamation of our sovereignty and our planet, because we all know the expression, as within, so without. As we become hydrated as a whole, the consciousness will also become hydrated. So I really felt a deep need as a leader and someone with influence to, just share more about water and share more about hydration, share this bottle and get it into the hands of as many families as possible, because we cannot hold all of this God consciousness and this new embodiment, this ancient wisdom that wants to flood into our DNA, without being an antenna to God. And that comes from being hydrated, right? So this body is not just water, but it's salt water. So what allows consciousness, what allows energy, God, prana, to move through the body is through the conduit of water. And not just water, but salt water. So hydration plays a larger role than I can even articulate. I mean, I just explained some of the things that it does, but it's one of the master conductors of every transaction that happens in your body, trillions of them in a 24-hour period. It's the master conductor. So without proper hydration, the body will never, ever function to its optimal capacity, right? So, we can't reclaim our power without reclaiming our health first. It's just not possible. So we if you're listening to this, take this as a divine message to stop putting your health on the back burner, and take your health seriously, take your hydration seriously, because it's a huge piece to you reclaiming who you are. And it's worth our investment. It's worth our time. It's worth our energy. And obviously, as we reclaim our health, as we reclaim our power, that touches all of creation. So when you do go look when you are inspired by all these words of this episode, don't go and purchase a bottle for $120. It's going to be junk, and you're going to be leaching heavy metals and toxins. And the bottle you might buy might not even producing molecular hydrogen. It has to have the IHSA certificate, which is what this Lumavite bottle does. And it's one of a couple bottles on the internet that you can find with the IHSA certificate, which really showcases just how many sharky companies with low integrity are just producing anything just so they can make money. And
Yes.
that's just what it is. But the truth needs to be spoken about it, because then you just have tons of people that are like, "Oh, hydrogen, cool! That resonates. Let me get a bottle," and then they're just going to buy some bottle that like is putting toxins in their body, and they might not even getting molecular hydrogen. So it's really important for people to know that, and I'm happy to share that information.
Yeah, I mean that is good, really solid, good information, because I had no idea. I'm one of those people that occasionally late night shop on my phone. I think, oh, you know what, I really should invest in one of those bottles. And I've nearly brought one a few times. And I thought, nah, I actually need to do some proper research. Can't be like another ad hoc thing. And uh in my house I've got a water filter, but it doesn't take the chlorine. So then I've brought like another device that takes the chlorine out, but it's a pain to continuously have to do that. I do it obviously because I don't want to drink the chlorine and the fluoride in there, but it's like just another thing that I have to force myself through. But the bottles themselves, do you have to use a specific type of water to put in there, or you can go straight tap water straight into one of those bottles?
This is an amazing question. So we don't want to put tap water straight into the bottle, because this bottle in particular, why Nuno created this bottle is he was working with certain patients that had a plethora of health issues, and he was getting them on molecular hydrogen. And what he found was a lot of the families were out and about so much, going to daycare, going to summer camp, going to work, visiting family, that a lot of the time they weren't at home. So Nuno wanted to create a bottle that was 10 ounces. So it's small, it's light, and it's super easy to travel on a plane with, on your flight. You can take it anywhere through the airport with water in it. You just say it's medical grade water, they'll let you through. And he wanted to create something that was really easily just able to travel with you on your errands, at the farmer's market, on a hike. And for me, it's kind of become just a ritual in my life to take it everywhere I go, because it's really easy. So ideally what we want to do is, if we have a really good filter, and there are some really good companies, you just have to know where to go. I can also share that can be shared in the show notes. We want to ideally if you can get a company in your area that has mountain spring water, we get at my house, we get 5-gallon jugs of mountain spring water collected from, 50 miles away from my house. We get the 5-gallon jugs, we place it, I fill up the bottle throughout the day, boom, I have the best water you could possibly have, except if I lived in Lourdes, France, which is one of the most high molecular hydrogen places where water comes naturally out of the earth in the world. So unless you happen to live in one of those handful of locations, this is as good as it gets. So mountain spring water collected from a local company, and that's what you want to put in there. But I don't want to say, like, if you do have a Kangen machine, you don't have to like throw it away or anything. It's not awful, it's not bad. There are just simply better options out there. Okay, there are better options out there. There's also, like, you can go super hard to get the Lourdes Hydrofix. That's also like another great machine. Aquapure. Yeah, but ideally, wherever you are in the world, try to get mountain spring water, put this in your bottle every day. You'll see dramatic shifts in your health within 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Some people within the first week are like, wow, I feel like everything's coming back online. Like, I'm feeling alive and feeling clarity. I've never slept so good. Just all the things, it does really, really profound things. Just something as simple as getting a bottle, putting spring water in it, and drinking it.
Yeah.
It's a very, very easy, palpable thing that anyone can do for their health, and all you have to do is just be religious about filling it up with water and, drinking, 10 of them a day, 8 of them a day, or however much. But when you have molecular hydrogen, like I said before, and I want to say this again, it becomes more about quality than quantity.
Yep.
So if you weigh 170 pounds, you don't have to drink 170 ounces of water. If you're drinking molecular hydrogen, you more have to drink 100 ounces of water, or 90 or 110, and you'll be very, very well hydrated, and the body will be working at a capacity that it's never worked before.
Yep. Well, that's really good because I had thought that it filters water, but it doesn't. It just changes the structure of the water so that you can absorb it in the best possible way. And I think that's really important as well, because I think a lot of people, and the way that it's being marketed on socials and the internet, is that it is a filter, but it's not a filter. And so I'm glad that I asked that question, because who knows what I would have ended up doing. Um, so so that's really good. So if someone didn't have access to mountain spring water, let's say, what else would you recommend to use with with the hydrogen bottle?
Yeah, I mean, you would just want to find, if you're going to be getting a filtered water from home, you just want to get one of the good companies that's out there. They're there.
Yep.
I'm happy to recommend one, but they're out there. You just have to find one. There are plenty of water filters out there that you can get that, honestly, it's not filtering out some of the chlorine. It's not filtering out the fluoride. So you're going to be drinking in those toxic chemicals in your water every day, and you just don't want to be doing that. So you just want to make sure you get a good one. And at the end of the day, even if you're putting distilled water, reverse osmosis water, it's a huge step in the right direction. We just don't want to be putting toxic water,
Yep.
because yes, the bottle does circulate out some of the toxins from tap water and things like that, but it's not designed to do that. It's not meant to do that. It's meant to put high quality water in there, and then it turns it into like the big shebang
Yeah.
and like the most high potent, structured, with frequencies, with like the grounding effects of Earth's magnetic core. So yeah, you just want to do the best you possibly can. And even with putting, like I said, reverse osmosis or distilled or Kangen, yeah, you're going to see just unbelievably massive shifts in your health.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I'm so glad that I've got to speak to you about all of this and to ask these kinds of questions, because when you deep dive into it, I feel like I've shortcut a lot of my research now, because I understand what I'm looking out for. I'll know how to use it, and it is an investment that I'm going to make, because I want to transform and alchemize the relationship that I have with water, and the way that I nourish myself, and the way that I'm bringing more of myself out into the world. So I think that's a really important and good choice to make. But I think this is, a lot of people are going to be surprised by a lot of what we spoke about today. My last question to you, Andrew, is what do you love most about being a heart-led change maker?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, during these times of great planetary transformation, it's really funny. This message wanted to come through me just in the last week. Some people get really triggered when we say the word chosen, like I am chosen. Um, but the truth is, I am chosen. You are chosen. We are chosen to be here during these times. All of us are chosen. And it is a tremendous honor to be able to be of service during this time, and to lead from our heart and to reclaim what's already here. It's not outside there. We're not learning, we're remembering what's already here. The God code within us, the ancient wisdom that is so unique that not another soul on this planet has. You have it. It's within you. And I just feel deeply honored and humbled to wake up every day and just continuously humbly ask, how can I be used as a conduit, a vessel for God, for change, for the greater good, for love, for union. And that's what I continue to go back to every day. And just in the last couple of weeks, I've had some really, really hard, challenging weeks. I've been brought to my knees, and that's taken me to find the space and the love, the acceptance, the gratitude for that present moment, and know that when we feel those things, there's big transformation in the near future. So yeah, it's just been so humbling. My God, the last couple of weeks, the last 4.5 years have been so humbling, and what we've gone through. And yeah, I feel just deeply indebted to the creator for being chosen to be here during this time and shine my light, and help as many people as possible to bring us into an existence unfathomable.
Well, the world is a much better place for having you in it, that's for sure. And you should know that. You are an incredible human being. I love talking to you. You've got so much knowledge. I feel like we could deep dive into so many beautiful topics. But it has been really enlightening to better understand the nature of water, how important that is for our souls, for our well-being, for all the things, and for the deep dive into better understanding this new technology that's come through as well. And that it's an exciting time, and I think yeah, for people who are conscious like this community, I think they'll be really intrigued by all of that. So thank you for sharing your wisdom today, Andrew.
Thanks for having me on, Marianne, and may this touch the soul of anyone who comes across this episode, and may your hydration and your life, your consciousness be changed forever.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thanks, and Andrew. I'll speak to you again soon.
Yeah, sounds good, Marianne.